like whenever we have like staff meetings, and he was like, I don't know, and I was like, well, I don't want to overthrow anyone because sometimes it's usually the principal that has their camera on, and I was like, I don't want to come off as like too cocky or whatever the case is, or distracting if anything. So I don't know. And then so I was like, I want to see people's faces, but
I know.
I'm not gonna force you. And he's like, okay, so are you trying to tell me to show my face? I'm like, well, yeah, I want to make eye contact with you, you know,
Yeah.
not, no, it's not super awkward, but yeah.
At my campus, they taught us how to change your background on Teams, and I think there's this like unspoken contest going on to see who like has the best background. So people always have their cameras on and like are changing their backgrounds all the time. I think it's like a contest that is like unofficial, and I'm like, I'm not playing. I'm not good at this.
Yeah, I think one of the teachers here on my campus, he has like a green screen and all that. Like he went all out. I was like, damn, that's
Man. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite is we have a teacher who took a picture of his classroom and uploaded it to Teams. So it looks like he's sitting in his desk in his classroom at his house.
what?
That's genius.
Yes, that's cool. That's cool.
So that's my favorite one. Oh my gosh. So you're still teaching virtually, you just chose to go to school.
Yeah, like I come to the school to like plan with my partner teacher, which he's awesome and he helps a lot. So I don't, you know, this is my first year, right?
I wasn't sure I was going to ask you. It's your very first year ever?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting though.
Yes, yes, and it's a challenge, but it's like it's it's cool. It's like I'm I think maybe that's why they hired me. I don't know, maybe because I guess I'm fresh out of college, and that kind of helps a little bit with technology. Because I know a lot of teachers left because they're like, heck no, I'm not dealing with technology, and that kind of pushed a lot of teachers to retire as well. But yeah, everything's been going great. Um, so yeah,
Good. You've picked one heck of a time to start teaching, though. I will tell you. This
yes.
is quite the time to start education, but I promise you it like obviously it's not always like this. Like it will be so different when this is all over.
Are y'all going back to your campus October 9th? Are you part of HISD as well, or?
Yes. So we go back the same day as you. So I think it's like Monday the 12th or it's the like the second week of October. So I'll be back in my classroom. Well, I actually don't have a classroom. I'm a floater. So I'll be back in my office and
Nice.
the same day that you are. So I get it. So you just graduated from college. Where'd you go to school?
I went to University of Houston downtown.
I went to University of Houston, the main campus. So I'm a big University of Houston fan. I think they put out great teachers.
Yes.
So good for you. So this is your very first year teaching. Did you want to teach middle school or is that just where you ended up?
I did want to teach middle school because that's what my certification's in, like four
Mhm.
through eight. But I think eventually I want to teach high school. Um, but my fiance was like, "Hey, you know, test out middle school," and she's like, "Middle school students they're complicated,"
Oh,
and you know, and I was like, "Well, high school students are complicated too," and I was like, "All kids are complicated," and
yeah.
so she's like, you know, kind of fill it out, and if you ever want to go to high school, then just test out, you know, but. I feel like maybe my end goal or my future goal is to potentially, I don't know, maybe be a professor. I don't know. I don't know. I don't, we, you know, what I mean, we have like hopes and dreams, but sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't know. I still haven't decided.
I get it. I absolutely get it. So I've actually, this is my sixth year in education. I've taught 10th grade, 11th grade, and I've also taught sixth grade. So I've taught middle school, so I get it. They are complicated beasts.
Yeah.
They don't know what they want. You don't know what they want. Nobody knows what's going on. So they're a different child. But I always wanted to teach high school. That was what I got my original certification in was 7 to 12 history and I was determined to teach 11th grade US history. That was the dream. And then
Yeah.
my very first year, I ended up in 10th grade, and I thought the whole world was going to be over, but it ended up being okay. So now I've taught both. And I could not teach little kids. Sixth grade was like that was it. Like that was the bottom of the line for me. So I get it. Middle school kids can be a lot, but so can high school kids. So like you said, everybody's got their own thing going on. So it's work, I think your fiance is right. Like give middle school a try, see how it is. And if it's not right for you, well, now you know,
Yeah.
and you can do something different next time.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So perfect. I don't want to keep you forever. So I just want to kind of I want to start by, so first I want to begin by saying that I am getting my graduate degree currently in instructional coaching. So my next step in my career is to be an instructional coach to help people like you who are in their first years or seasoned teachers that want to perfect a skill or learn something new. So to graduate, I have to coach someone
Yeah.
and prove that I am capable of taking this on into my professional career. So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
You are my proof.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I just want to thank you for being willing to do this with me because I'm still learning myself. So we're gonna get through this. It's gonna be okay. Um, so I want to start by explaining to you how this works. So we're going to meet a couple of times. So like this. So we'll keep communicating via text and email like we've been doing. And then every once in a while we'll do a video like this. I think because we're at different campuses, all of our meetings are going to stay virtual. I don't know how, I think it would be kind of complicated to get back and forth to you. So are
Oh,
you okay with
yeah.
doing this
Yeah, yeah.
virtually?
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
saves us time as
So
well.
I put it in my email to you that we're going to be using a system called the impact cycle. So it goes in 3 steps. And just so you know, it's right here. I have it in front of me.
Okay.
Um, so the impact cycle goes in 3 steps. The first step is identify, which is what we're going to be doing today, where we identify the goal that you would like to achieve in this coaching relationship. And then we move into stage 2, which is the learn stage, where I help you learn the strategy or to perfect the strategy to reach your goal. And then the last step is the improve stage, where I kind of let you go and implement this in your classroom and we can gather some data and get some feedback to see where we are in the process. So and then if we need to, we can circle back around and start over. And at any time, it's a very fluid circle. So it's whatever shape we need it to be. So if we get halfway through learning a strategy and we realize we need to start over and pick something new, we can do that. It's not set in stone. We're not married to something until we find the thing that works for you.
Okay, cool.
So today, like I said, we're going to be in the identify stage. So typically what would happen is I would come to you or to your class and I would observe you. And this would be the part where you and I are meeting to talk about what I saw in your class. So we didn't get to do that. I watched one of your classes instead. So I'd like to start by just going over how you think that class went. It was on Jamestown and Plymouth, right?
Yeah.
I love that unit. I think that's I love that stuff. So I miss teaching that. I was watching it and I was like, yes.
Yes. So look, check this out. I don't know if I'm gonna kind of shoot myself in the foot, but I don't even know all the content, which I know sounds kind of weird.
That's
You're like,
okay.
what? You're a history teacher, you don't know crap. But yes, that's the reality of it. And so my partner teacher, he's being super helpful and like laying out. It's more of like a kind of like I guess you can say a skeleton, and then I like kind of fill in the skeleton. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it came in that order. Okay, 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 cool. And so I'm kind of like teaching myself as I teach others, and so or the students, and so it's a learning in progress or process or whatever you want to call it. But I I know it might sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I kind of don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm trying, and so that's the main thing that I'm trying. But um, I do remember that lesson, and I did review it as well, and I looked over it. Um, I feel like that was like when the students are still kind of getting used to technology, and so I know that's a factor in that as well. And I kind of wrote some notes down as well. I kind of saw that like students were trying to like distract me and kind of throw me off, and I'm like, I asked my mentor or my partner teacher, I'm like, hey, like, what do you do when someone throws you off? And so I guess you can help me with that too. But yeah.
So I'll just tell you to make you feel a little better. When I was, so I student taught first when I was still in college, and I student taught AP US history with 11th graders. So I had that down. Like I knew because I watched someone else do it. So when I graduated from college, I got hired to teach 11th grade, and I was like, I got this. I know the content. And then 2 days before the first day of school, they were like, just kidding, you're going to teach 10th grade world. And I was
Man.
like, I don't know anything. So I was in the same boat as you are. I had 2 days to prep, and I was learning it as I went along. But by like Christmas of that first year, I was like, I got this. And it was really easy to pick up the information. And by the end of this year, you will be like an eighth grade pro. Like you will have this down. Like you will be so further ahead at the end of this year than you are right now, that you'll look back on this and you'll be like, when did I not know? Like what was I worried about? So
Yeah.
it's okay as long as you are ahead of where the students are and you feel confident in what you're sharing with them, then it's okay to learn as you go. Like that's just
Yes.
where we are. Like it, and so I sympathize. I have been there.
Yes, ma'am.
So I watched your class obviously, and I took a whole bunch of notes for you. I'm
Wow.
a not bad. I'm a note writer. Like I it helps my process if I write things down for you. So I'm just looking at what I had to say. I'm glad that you pointed out that students were trying to distract you, because that was something I definitely wrote down. They're at that age where they're trying to push you, and they want to see if you'll give in, and what they're trying to throw you a rope and see what you'll do with it. So I'm glad that you caught that. Something that I thought was really good was the way you're connecting the content, because this is a big concept to grasp, like the coming to America and understanding things like persecution. That's big for an eighth grader.
Yes.
So you leveling it in a way that made sense to them and connecting it in their lingo, I thought that was really strong. And I thought that was a really great way. I liked the thing with the burgers. I thought
Yeah.
that was really good.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
I was an eighth grader, I'd be like, hold up, tell me more. Please tell
Yeah.
me more, Mr. Morales.
Yes.
So
And that's why
yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, so that's why I was like, I like Five Guys, and someone's like, Five Guys is not even that good, and so like I try to help them picture that, especially since the demographics is like 90% Latinos, and I'm like, maybe they don't have Five Guys, maybe they'll have Mickey D's or whatever, and that's why I was like, what is your favorite burger, But yeah,
Mhm.
all right.
I'm just making sure I'm recording on my phone. Please don't think I'm not looking at you. I've just got multiple devices going at the same time. Okay. So I'm glad that you notice these things about your class and that you're becoming aware. I will say a big benefit to this online teaching is that you have the ability to go back and watch yourself. So I don't think you need to watch every single class you do, but just pick every once in a while, just pick a random class to watch, and you'll catch things like this.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
because it's hard to catch them in the moment when you have so many things going on. But then going back and watching them like you did, you can say like, oh, like I didn't catch that when it happened. And you
Yes.
can make cognizant choices going forward. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have your watch yourself pulled up on my phone. I just wanted to go through that with you really quickly, just so you can kind of expand on what you circled. So for the first one, you said my praise to correction ratio is at least 3 to 1. So we talked about 3 positive things for every corrective thing that we say. So I'm glad you ranked that so high. And I agree, in watching your class, you're very supportive, you're very aware of what's going on. And when you do correct them, it's not like a discipline thing. It's let's just get back on track. So I thought that one was good. I was glad you ranked that so high. I'm not going to make us go through all of them, but I wanted to talk about the very little wasted time during the lesson. You gave that one your lowest score.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about that one. What are you feeling with that one?
I feel like that's been a issue since when I was doing student teaching as well. Um, I guess my transitions, I would say, is kind of like, I know everything is work in progress, but what I'm saying is like, I'm, like when I was student teaching, I had like a timer, right? Because it was the teacher's timer, and so I was like, maybe I need to get a timer because I feel like sometimes I can kind of get off track, and I'm like, oh crap, like we need to get the quizzes done, or hey guys, log in, and like maybe I'm giving them too much time, and they're like, oh, Mr. Morales, the more time we take from Mr. Morales, the less, I guess, I would say, like, we're not going to learn everything we might learn that day. But I'm like, no, we are. And so sometimes maybe my lessons are kind of rushed. So I would say like that's probably why I ranked it like super low, because, or just low in general, because I feel like I do waste time, and I know that that is something that I need to work on, and I don't have that down yet. And so I would say my transitions, keeping time, and um, not waiting on the whole class to be on the same page. And because technology with the whole Microsoft Teams is like you see about 60% of students in class, but then where's the other 40? And so I'm like, am I waiting too long? And then finally, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna be waiting for them. And that's why I've posted like a student pace Nearpod, and then I'll also put a student pace quizzes. So like, let's say if someone's late, I'm like, hey, you already know my rules or whatever you want to call them. I already put it in the hub. Go to the hub, to log in and do the student pace. After the student pace, you take a quiz or whatever the assignment is for the day. And so I'm like, those that are coming in early, I'm just gonna go ahead and start.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And that can be really difficult, even in the physical classroom, because you will have kids that come in after the tardy bell, and then you have those kids that just want to waste time for the sake of wasting time. So it is something that does take some time to get to work on. But I'm glad that you identify that that's an area that we can grow, and maybe that can be the focus of, because we're going to set a goal, and one goal, and we're going to find a strategy to work on for that. So perhaps that can be our goal for this experience, is working on transition times. So I have some questions I want to ask you. These are just questions that are going to help us gauge where we are in this and where you are in your class, because it's really important. An important part of the impact cycle is in this identify stage. We don't want to just identify what we want to do moving forward. We want to have a clear understanding of where we are right now, because there's a strong support saying that if you are cognizant of where you are right now, you can make clear and unbiased choices moving forward. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst lesson that you've ever taught in your entire life, and 10 being the best lesson you've ever taught in your entire life, where do you rank this lesson?
A 6.
A 6? Okay, why is this a 6? That's better than average, so I like to hear that. Why is this one a 6?
Because I just know that it's not my best, and like I told you at the beginning, I'm like that I'm still like learning the content. So like if I can send you another lesson of what kind of like recapping everything I've been teaching, it's gonna
Yeah.
flow a lot better. And or yeah, like, so I feel like there's some lessons that you're more what's the word, more passionate about. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like Jamestown and Plymouth is a little boring, and I'm just being honest with you. And
Yeah.
so right now we're focusing on the 3 regions of the 13 colonies, and I'm like, oh, I got this down. I know about the fur. I know about, this about the middle colonies, the southern colonies, and I'm like, and like you can tell that the kids are learning because of the feedback, and I like to like cold call on people and or on students. And so if I well, my an admin said like, well, it's not always about physical, like physically they can tell you, maybe get them to do something on the chat or on Nearpod or a discussion board or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm kind of the teacher. I like to hear them remember or recall things, and that helps me understand where they're at. And so sometimes I have a period who they don't they don't say anything, and it's really aggravating. And I'm just like, why do they not say anything? It just makes no sense. But they know it, they just don't verbalize it. And so I guess that's where I need to that's why I'm labeling or ranking that at a 6, because I feel like it wasn't my best subject or my best lesson. Because I just think it's a boring topic or lesson, um, and maybe I didn't make it fun enough for them. Um, but I would say, like, if I can send you another lesson, you're like, oh yeah, you're way more passionate about this. And so I guess you can say I wasn't passionate about Jamestown or Plymouth. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to send me other lessons to watch, like there is no right or wrong number in what I can and cannot watch. So I'll tell you, for the purpose of my class, um, there we get a window for each stage. Like I have a certain date, and it's up to me to submit whatever I feel like is appropriate for our relationship. So there's not like a limit where I can only watch one lesson. So
Okay.
if you'd like me to watch more lessons, I'm happy to do that. So if you want to send me the follow-up lesson, yeah, I will watch that and we can talk about that lesson too.
Okay.
So I can sympathize. Right now, I teach 11th grade college prep, but I also teach a section of 10th grade world history. So I can sympathize. We're in the agricultural revolution right now.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, the kids are not into the agricultural revolution. They're not about it. So I,
Yeah.
I get it. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get them to engage in something that they're just not interested in. And so it can be really difficult, especially when you aren't in front of them to physically motivate them to make those choices. It's hard because you can't reach through the screen and
Yeah.
make them put their hand up. And so I get it. It's difficult. So I'm glad that you are recognizing why lessons are going well for you and aren't going well for you. And the reality of it is that not every lesson is going to be perfect. There are going to be those days where it just is not your thing, they're not into it, and we just have to recognize how we make up for those lower days on our high days. So you'll learn that over time, how to make up the momentum that you might not have had.
Okay.
So I don't want to just focus on the negative things. I also want to focus on the positive things. So what did you like about that lesson?
That was the negative. I don't. I didn't even know that was the negative.
Well, I mean, you were
Oh,
you were talking more about ways that you weren't happy with it. So I want to know what made you happy about that lesson. What were you glad with?
well, I'm glad that, like, for instance, I know one of the students. I know he's not, like, I guess he doesn't have the highest reading level, and I appreciate him, like, trying, and I don't even know his reading level, but I could just tell that his reading level is low, and so I really like when kids participate because they're trying, and that's
Mhm.
what makes me happy. Is that, and I know that sounds kind of weird, but no, yeah, that they're trying and they're physically trying. They're trying to understand or grasp the knowledge or the what is being taught, and so even if they're putting something on the discussion board and just collaborating with other students, that's very important, and that's important for all students, not just students who are low. Um, but yeah, that's what I think. So I think that went well, and
Yeah.
I'm very happy that they're at least participating in. And and then another reason why I sent it so not so late in the day, but that was my fourth period. So I had first, second, third, and I kind of like took things out and kind of I get, you're a teacher, you're a teacher as well, so you're like, wait, this didn't work with first period. Okay, so let me try this with the second period. You're like, what? Okay, cool. I'm gonna try this with this period, and it just flows a lot better. but I know for sure it wasn't super, like, it wasn't flowing the way I wanted it to flow, but I still got the message across. And like I said before, like I wasn't like super passionate about Jamestown and Plymouth. But yes.
That's okay. That's so I'm glad you're taking the risks and the time to say, like you said, like this didn't work in first period, let's do it different in second period. Because I think sometimes teachers get stuck and they say, like, I have to do it the way it's on the lesson plan. And it's like every group of kids is different. So what works in one may not work in period two. So it's good to see and to hear that you are making those adjustments as you go. So I think that's a really strong trait to have. So that's definitely a positive. So you said this lesson was a 6. What could you do if you could teach this lesson again? What would you do to make it closer to a 10?
Huh, that's good. I guess, and I guess another thing that kind of you don't see as well, it's like the the assignment that we did after. And I was gonna ask you, I was like, I don't know if she wants me to send her the assignment that we did after, or if they did something on Nearpod, or I don't remember. But um, I would say in order for me to get to a 10 or a 9, um, I guess just kind of try to break it down as much as possible. And what I mean by breaking it down is maybe using more life experiences, because I try to explain it in a way that they would understand, but maybe it wasn't super clear. I would say just kind of use more real life or yeah, situations. So I don't know if I said it with this group, but I was like, guys, they came to Plymouth for a new life, and so I was like, my mother came to the United States for a new life, for a better beginning, or to make something out of herself. And so maybe using like real examples like that based on my experiences or based on other people's experiences.
I think that's good, and you definitely did that. And I think in the particular class I like, you talked about, you called a student out by name, and you said, if you were being treated poorly, what kind of decisions would you make? And you left it up to him to make that decision. So I think you're right; those real life examples make for a more engaging lesson. And so I think that that would definitely move your teaching up to a 9 or a 10. So let's flip the classroom here. In a 10 class, imagine a 10 class. What are the students doing that would make the class a 10?
Virtually, or
What we can look at both. Let's start with virtually just because that's where we are, and then we can imagine what a class would look like if we weren't virtual.
to get my class to attend virtually, I would say where they could use the example that I gave them, and they can use it in their own perspective, or plug it into their own life and relate it to, or somehow make sense of it, and kind of back it up with the whole persecution thing as an example, of course. So kind of give them an idea of it, and then letting them figure it out on their own, right? By saying, okay, guys, so look, I just gave an example. Now you tell me an example. It can be either done in writing, or you can record yourself, or you can post it on Flipgrid, and to see if they understand what persecution means. And if I can get them to, and then I can make it in a creative way where I can say, okay, guys, you're going to record yourself on Flipgrid. You can get as creative as possible. You can act it out. You can do animation. You can draw it. You can wrap it. Whatever. Um, as long as the message is it's correct. In other words.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way, like especially for students that have different modalities and different ways of learning, giving them that opportunity to do it their own way. And like you said, as long as it stays true to what you're trying to teach them. If the word is persecution, at the end of the day, as long as they know what persecution looks like, who cares how they get there, right? So I think that that would make for a really strong classroom. So let me ask you, we talked earlier about, I lost my train of thought. It's coming back to me. It's been a long day. We talked earlier about things that you'd like to modify in your class, and you pointed out you about transitions. You said that was a big one for you. Um, I want to pinpoint a goal, that a measurable goal that you and I can set moving forward. And I think you've brought up two really great ideas. I think transitions is one, and I think this idea of allowing students flexibility with the content to make it their own is a really great idea. Would you like either one of those to be our focus, or is there another area that you think that you would like to work on? I'd like you to identify where you want to grow.
Transitions for sure. Time.
Transitions.
Yeah. Like I would say transitions will fall into classroom management for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like not losing track of time and or keeping track of time and making sure that the kids stay on track. Because I know that's what freaking middle school students do is they try to throw you off. I did the same thing in high school with my teachers. I would always try to throw them off, and then they knew that, and I was a pro at that. Um,
I get it. And
yeah,
my
so
high school kids do it every day.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so
stand up because I'm tired of sitting down. Well, I don't sit down. I try to stand up when I'm teaching, but I'm not
yeah,
gonna.
you
I,
whatever makes you comfortable. Like I've been in this chair all day. I get it. Like as soon as I'm done with you, I'm gonna like go for a walk or like
yes.
take my dogs out. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I get it. Okay, so you want your goal to be transitions and focusing on getting kids to stay on track during those transitional times. I think that's a really strong goal. So something that is really important, an important part of the impact cycle, is picking a goal that really matters to the teacher. So I want you to, and you've already done it a little bit, but I'd like you to voice to me why this matters, like why this is the goal we should set right now.
Because time is very, very important in teaching. And so if you're losing time by trying to gather up students, uh, you know, if I'm spending 10 minutes or giving them 10 minutes to log into Pear Deck or Nearpod, that's 10 minutes. And then if you multiply that by a week, that's 50 minutes, and then you multiply that for the weeks that we're in school, like it's just a crap load of time. So maybe what I can do is, and I can already correct myself. I can easily tell them, hey guys, before we even start on Microsoft Teams, go to the hub. You're gonna see the Nearpod. I can, but sometimes the only thing that sucks about Nearpod is that if you're doing like a live lesson, the link changes. So I guess maybe try to come up with a better way of doing that. So students are already like logged in, but not every student is gonna go to the hub and then go to Microsoft. Heck no, they would not do that. So I guess just not wasting too much time. I think that's why I can pinpoint that I need to work on my transitions, because I'm like, okay, if I'm spending 5 minutes on letting students get to class, and then I gotta do announcements, like show announcements. That's an 7 minutes. Then I give the students another 5 minutes to log into Pear Deck, and then I wait another 2 to 3 minutes for them to log in. I'm just wasting too much time, and so I'm kind of being hard on them. And I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm just gonna start the quiz. Like, y'all taking forever. You know what? I'm gonna start the Pear Deck. Y'all taking too long. I'm just gonna start it. And then they're like, oh shoot, like let me get on, And like I'm not trying to, be mean to them, but um, I'm just like they need to get on. They need to get on it. And so yeah.
Okay, I think that's a really measurable goal, and I think that's something that together you and I can work on. And I think it would be great for us if we set a time limit. You know, like you were saying, it takes you 5 minutes to get into the hub, and then it takes 7 minutes to do announcements. I think together, and we don't have to set this time limit today, but I think it would be a great idea for us to say, I'm going to do transitions in less than X number of minutes, and that be what we aim for, and that end goal. So I
Yeah.
think recognizing and identifying that transitions is our focus, and the next time we meet, we can really pinpoint what it is that we want to happen, and we can pinpoint how we're going to get there. Does that
Yes.
sound okay?
Yes, ma'am. Would it be beneficial to the students if I kind of like share that outline with them? Like, hey guys, look, this is what to do now. It's logging in to Nearpod or Pear Deck, or logging into the hub. This is the time that you need to do it. I guess maybe that can help them, but I don't know. I really don't know. But not every student is going to look at that. Not every student is going to pay attention to that. They're just going to be like, Mister, where am I? What am I? I'm late. I'm late. But yeah, I don't
So
want to take
I
so much of your time, Ms.
no,
Morales.
no, you're fine. That's what I'm here for. So I'm glad that you're thinking about these things now. And I think that something that is really strong, this is something I do in my classroom. Like you said, I post an agenda and I set the expectation at the beginning of class, like this is what we're getting accomplished today.
Yeah.
And in my lesson plans, I actually I don't share my lesson plans with the students, but I plan I time my lesson plans. So that's something that you could look at too. So for example, I give my do now 3 minutes. And when we hit that 3 minute mark, that's it. Like we are done. But I set the expectations with my students, like this is the agenda for the day. Here's what you have to accomplish before you leave my class today. So they know going in that we're doing stuff today. So I think that we can find a teaching strategy for you that will help you set those expectations for your class. So I'd like to narrow it down a little bit more. Do you want to work on shortening transition times, or do you want to focus on getting students to do the task at hand?
Dang. I would say like no, like what you said, that is like, you time your lessons and you kind of show or kind of let the students know the agenda for the day. I guess that's what I've been slacking on because I don't really know what that looks like virtually.
Okay.
Um, and I guess I haven't even tried, but timing my lesson is very, very important. But I would say, yes, I want them to get to the task, right? So I want them to do the task right away, right? So if I tell them hop on Pear Deck, I don't want them to spend 3 minutes like not knowing what to do. Like, so lately what I've been doing, I just like before I even start the class, I'll just put it on the chat. Miss Morales, I really need a pee.
Go.
Okay, I'll be back. I'll be back. My bad.
You're okay.
All right, Miss Morales, I'm back.
Okay, not a problem. So let's look back at where we are. So we've established that we want to focus on transition times and cutting down the time it takes students to get engaged in your work. And you also want to look at timing your lessons. So I think what I'd like to do is I would like to take some time, maybe this weekend, to look for some teaching strategies for you that we can explore together. And I'd like you to pick one that we can focus on. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, perfect. So before we go, before we, let me make sure I've covered everything I need to do. I wrote myself an agenda because if not, I'll forget something. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I would like to set our goal. I would like to write out our goal. I'm a big writer. If, like I said, if I don't write it down, I will forget it.
Yeah,
So what the impact cycle recommends is something called a peers goal. Have you ever done a peers goal before?
probably
That's a,
not.
I am going to share my screen with you, and I am going to show you what, oh, it would help if I had the internet open instead of this. Okay, here we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so a peers goal. Peers stands for powerful, easy, emotionally compelling, reachable, and student focused. So I just want to go through this checklist with you. I love this impact cycle because it's full of checklists, and checklists are like my best friend. So you're going to see a lot of checklists.
Okay, cool.
So first off, powerful. We're going to focus on transitions, on cutting down. I'm going to write this. I'm writing this on my copy.
Okay.
So we're going to focus on transitions, cutting down idle time in class.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So I want to ask you, and I want you to lead this part of the conversation. Does that sound like a powerful goal to you? Is this going to make a big difference in children's lives?
I think so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that for me?
I think it's gonna be a big difference because um, they'll learn more if we can get on task, if they can jump on Pear Deck or Nearpod. We're not wasting so much time on that. I can elaborate and ask more or ask questions, and they can ask questions and kind of have an open discussion if we need to. Um, I think overall it's going to help them because I'm not wasting time nor I'm wasting their time. And so they'll learn more because we started class on time.
Awesome. I think you're right. I think this is going to be a powerful goal because, like you said, if we can cut down on transitions, that leaves more time for learning and more time for what we're here for.
Yes.
So the first E is easy, simple, clear, and easy to understand. Do you feel that we've set an easy goal for you?
I wouldn't say super easy, but it's manageable. I guess yeah, I can manage to get there. So yeah,
Is there a way that I could make this goal easier for you?
I guess give me some ideas or email me some ideas.
Okay, so I take it you're a visual person. It'll help if you see it before we start.
Yes, ma'am.
Not a problem. Like I said, I'm gonna pick some strategies for you, and then I'd like to meet again so we can vocalize which one is the right strategy for you.
Perfect.
Okay, so we'll leave that first E as a to be determined for
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, and what I mean by like sending me like resources or whatever. Like it doesn't. It can be like something you use or used to use in your classrooms. Just ideas, even if it's like a video or whatever. What you know? What I mean, like you said, like I am visual, and but I'm also kind of I learn by doing as well, and I guess that's everyone.
Yeah, no, but it's fair, and it's good that you recognize your strengths so I can cater this best to you and how you want to learn. Let me ask, would it be beneficial to you, or would you like to maybe watch one of my classes?
Yes, 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 yes.
I'm not promising I'm a pro at transitions, but if you want to see someone else do it, I'm happy to send you one of my lessons.
Yeah, that's cool. Because my mentor, when I was doing my student teaching, she was good with time management. I'm not gonna lie, but like it kind of feels weird not having the kids in here, and so maybe I should keep a some kind of clock or timer on my wall. And but I'm not always teaching here at the campus, so maybe I do need to order something on Amazon and just go ahead and like buy some kind of clicker or some kind of timer that's going to help me track my time better.
So let me ask you, would you like that to be your strategy, getting a tangible clock, or would you like to explore some other options that are out there?
I would say just a clock itself, like a some kind of timer.
Okay, if you want that to be your strategy, I can do some research this weekend to see maybe there might even be a app or a program on the computer that you can post in your class live so that everyone can see the timer.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay, so let me do some digging this weekend, but it sounds like we're starting to narrow down your strategy. The strategy is the physical manifestation of time, seeing it happen so that you are cognizant of how much time you have left.
Yes. Like for instance, today I did a near pod, and because Fridays are like reviews for us, and then
Mhm.
they quiz, and so I guess I had a physical clock in front of me, and it was a timer for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And while that 2 minutes and 30 seconds was going off, I was taking attendance, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, cool. This helps a lot." And I guess I didn't really. I made a mental note, but I don't know why I have not thought about having like a real like timer. Like,
I think that's great.
yeah, because cell phones are like they're good device, like it'll help you, but you're gonna have to like program it in a way that it's gonna do everything. And like we're in a block schedule, we're on this. I don't know. It's just our schedule is kind of funky.
I trust me, I know our schedule is A, B, and then Fridays are C, so they're a completely different calendar. So
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah. Look, check it out. This is our schedule.
Oh my gosh.
We have blue days and gold days, and then we have Wednesday. Wednesday is like a circle, like circles. We have circles on Wednesdays. It's a little stressful.
Yeah, I
But
can imagine that that is stressful.
so
I
the
get it.
first couple of days, I went to the wrong class. So yeah.
Oh, I've done that. It's okay.
Yeah. I felt such like a nerd. Oh crap! I went to the wrong class.
But I think that a part of being a teacher is using your mistakes as a learning experience. So, you now can sympathize with the kids that go to the wrong place.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. So let's look at the E. The next E is emotionally compelling. Just to you, does this matter? Is this an important thing for you?
So what do you like? The goal is the
Yes,
emotionally compelling, huh?
I know that's a difficult way to put it, but what I'm asking is that does achieving this goal matter to you? Are you picking this goal because you
Yes.
genuinely want it to matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because an important part of this is we don't pick a goal just for the sake of picking a goal. We want to pick something that is important to you and you are wanting to invest your time in.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Okay. Next is R for reachable. We identify a measurable outcome and strategy. So we haven't done that yet. What we can do is if you'd like to wait on R, that's what I was talking about earlier when I said getting your transitions from 5 minutes to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We need to identify something tangible that we can watch as you go. So if you'd like, we can table R until you see some strategies, and then maybe we meet early next week to do R. or we can set one now, and it can always change if it needs to.
Yeah, let's I would say like whatever you want to send me, send it my way. Maybe I can try it in my class and then kind of go from there. Is that cool?
I'd like to set an R before you start implementing strategies in your class, just so I can track them and show you the data of your growth.
Okay.
So why don't we plan this? I'll send you the strategies, and then early next week, Monday would be great, but we can do Tuesday. Once you've had a chance to look over the strategies, then we can say, I'm going to implement strategy number 2, which will get my transitions down from 5 minutes to 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Sounds good.
I get it. You want to see what your options are before you commit to one. I can appreciate that.
Yeah. And you know how you're like, make sure you look over your video. And so I was watching it, or like watching it, hearing myself out, and I was just like, oh my God, I sucked. Like, wow.
No, don't think that.
I was like, wow, I suck. I was like, but I was like, okay, I'm getting better at this. I'm getting the hang of this. I'm having a little bit more control of the class compared to, I don't know how long ago was that lesson, but yeah.
I will tell you, even though you are the first person I have formally coached with, I have watched a lot of coaching, and teachers tend to be their harshest critic. So even when I watch myself, I am like, that was awful. Who hired me to be an educator? So that is completely normal that you are critical of yourself, but I do think it's important that, like you said, you take stock of the things that are improving and the ways that you are growing. So if you keep just like we did in the checklist, the 3-to-1, so keep that 3-to-1 ratio. If you're going to say something negative about yourself, make sure you also back it up with things that you did well.
Okay.
That will keep you from spiraling into a dark hole that you will never get out of.
Yes, ma'am.
And the last one is student focused. Do you believe that this goal, lowering transition times, addresses student achievement, behavior, or an attitude outcome?
Yes, 100%.
If you had to pick one of those 3, which one do you think we're addressing?
Behavior.
Okay, behavior.
Because we're managing behavior because sometimes behavior comes from distractions. So if they are distracted and the teacher's not on point, they'll get distracted and they'll start, you know, being disruptive, or Mr. Morales doesn't have control of his class. I'm just gonna take over it. I forgot that I have to turn in some data today.
Uh-oh, we're almost done, I promise. And then I will let you out of here so you can go do your data. We can finish up when we meet early next week if you need to go.
No. Like the data's already there for me. I need to touch bases with my partner teacher. He's here. And so I went to the restroom and I swang by and he's like, hey dude, we gotta turn in the data. I'm like, I forgot. So
If you need to go, we can meet again, like I said, on Monday when I have some strategies for you. Would you like to do that?
yeah, because we're already sitting at like an hour. Unless we're about to wrap, well, we can wrap it up if possible.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is totally fine.
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but yeah.
No,
I
you have other
talk
responsibilities.
too much. That's why. I'm like, sometimes I don't catch myself. I'm like, oh man, I talk too much. I didn't even let her speak.
I will tell you that this is more about you speaking than it is about me speaking. So I'm glad that you're willing to share. Like, I really appreciate that you have been willing to share with me. So you are an ideal coaching partner. So I don't want to take up any more of your time, especially if you have things you need to do. So I am going to research some strategies and send them to you. And then let's plan to meet. Is Monday okay, or would you prefer Tuesday?
We can do Monday. I mean, Monday's a holiday. I don't know if it is.
Oh,
We
yeah,
do.
that's right.
I think we have some kind of like, I don't know, if our campus is having some kind of professional development. I don't know, but we can just be in communication, just text me and like kind of like what we did today, like, hey, I'm done, whatever. And I can hop on.
Perfect. So I'll communicate with you. I'll check in with you midday Monday. And if Monday works, great. If not, we'll shoot for Tuesday, okay?
Sounds good. And then you
Perfect.
can also send me like what's it called on calendars, like an invitation
An
or whatever,
invite?
an invite, yeah. And so kind of like let's shoot, let's say for 12, like you said, and if 12 doesn't work, then we'll just go from there.
Perfect. Well, thank you for spending this time with me. I know we've been together almost an hour, but I think it was a productive hour, so I'm glad.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Well, you have a great weekend. I will text you when I found some strategies and I'll send them to your email and we'll touch base on Monday.
Perfect. Sounds great. Nice meeting
Wonderful.
you.
It was nice to see you. I'll talk to you on Monday.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
Bye.